The women in B-Pod are all gathering in the day room at the Ingham County Jail. I'm nervous and excited because tomorrow I am finally going home. It's almost time for lockdown, and I return to my cell thinking about my 6 a.m. release. I lie down on the 6-inch plastic mat. It's been my bed for the last 3 months. I stare into the dark cell, thinking about what I'll do first when I'm free, what it will feel like to have a real shower again, what I'll eat. And then I think about how it will feel to see my son again. I drift off. The next thing I know, it's morning. "Wilson, pack it up," I hear over the intercom. I jump out of bed, put on my beige jail slides, and grab my most prized possessions. Taking a final look around, I see the few women here who I've grown close to, peeking through their tiny windows of their cells, waving goodbye. My heart sinks to be leaving my friends in a place where you're only referred to as the last name or a number. And there's nothing I can do on their behalf. It was only 3 months ago, but an entire world away. A hot summer day in June. I appeared before Judge Kennedy to answer a warrant for malicious destruction of property. I don't want to get into the details, but this warrant was due to a toxic personal situation involving several so-called friends that went too far. And somehow, all the blame landed on me. By answering this warrant, rather than waiting for it to be served on me, I believed I was doing damage control on the situation. But what came next completely blindsided me. I enter the courtroom. I find a seat and wait nervously for my attorney to show up. I look up and see my attorney. "Let's go chat out here before we get started." We head to the hallway for a conference. "Since you have no criminal history, the prosecutor is offering you 18 months of probation," my lawyer says. "When you go before the judge, he's going to ask if you have anything that you would like to say. Just decline, okay?" "Okay," I agree. We return to the courtroom, and moments later I hear, "All rise." The judge enters. He's a middle-aged, light-skinned African-American man who reminds me of my grandfather. 4 or 5 people go ahead of me, and then I hear my name called. "Asia Wilson." I feel like my heart is beating out of my chest. I stand to approach the judge's bench, and my attorney meets me there. "Do you have anything you would like to say before the court today, Miss Wilson?" the judge asks. "No, thank you, Your Honor," I reply, following my attorney's advice. "Are you serious?" the judge demands. "You're found guilty on these charges and you walk in here today with nothing to say? You don't even have an apology to give the victim?" I glance over at my attorney, and he's got the dumbest look on his face. If he hadn't told me to keep quiet, I would have apologized to the judge and the court for letting my anger get the best of me. I would have pleaded my case in order to receive a just sentence. Why would he tell me to do that? He's a court-appointed attorney. Is he trying to set me up? The judge sentences me to 90 days incarceration. I fight to compose myself. I feel so much anger and betrayal from this lawyer who's supposed to represent me, from the people I once called friends, and from my own family. Where's the justice in this? And why am I standing up here alone with no one to give me emotional or moral support? In hindsight, I see that throughout my life, I had never really been supported by anyone, starting with my mother, who, because of her drug use, spent time in prison while I was growing up. As children, my younger sister and I bounced from one living situation to another. We lived with our grandparents for a while, then in different foster homes, and for a while with an aunt. You have never been a mother to me, I screamed at her a year earlier after an argument with my sister escalates. My mother is so hurt that she doesn't want anything to do with me after that night. Those words, you have never been a mother to me, will reverberate throughout my incarceration. On my first day, I'm placed in the general population of the county jail. I enter my cell and take note of the dirty white walls and the metal toilet with a bowl on top. This is no place for me, I think, placing my plastic sleeping mat on the top bunk. I develop a morning routine. After waking at 5 a.m. for breakfast, we go back to our cells for a long lockdown. This time, I open my Bible to read from random spots. After a few weeks, I notice that I often return to the verse, honor thy mother and father so that your days may be long. Over and over, I keep coming back to that verse. I realize that this coincidence is God's way of speaking to me. I suddenly see what I need to do. I can't keep carrying this anger and pain. It's destroying all my relationships with the people that I love the most. I understand that I need to make amends with my mother. I begin attending classes and church services. So much hurt and pain has been trapped in my unforgiving heart. Now it's finally rising to the surface for me to experience. I'm sick of this disease. For days, I sit and ponder who I need to let go of and who I need to forgive. I need to own my mistakes so that I can be free. When I step outside of the Ingham County Jail for the first time in 3 months, my sister's waiting for me in her silver Chrysler 300. We immediately head to my mother's house. I haven't spoken to her since that day a year ago. I climb the 3 flights of stairs, ready to lay eyes on my beautiful mother. The door opens, and there stands my 5'2" mom. I take one step through the door, and she grabs me and hugs me. "I'm sorry, Ma," I blurt out. "I was wrong." I feel the warmth in her arms, which tells me I'm finally and officially home. I'm so relieved to be connected with my mother, but life is not easy. I'm unemployed, yet some of my probationary requirements include things such as attending classes 4 to 5 times a week that I have to pay for. Once, when I don't have money to pay for a class that is required for my probation, I'm marked as absent, even though I showed up. And this is a system they call rehabilitative. I feel as if this system is built to be a revolving door. You need to have an immense amount of fight in you to survive the punishing conditions of rehabilitation. And every bit of it comes with stigma, barriers, and lots of closed doors. I have literally had to force my way into rooms by beating the odds, which have been stacked against me, showing the world my true character. In May 2022, I began volunteering with Nation Outside, an organization led by formerly incarcerated individuals whose mission is to drive practice and policy reforms to address the barriers in the criminal justice system for returning citizens and their families. And after 6 months, I'm offered a paid position as a community engagement specialist with Nation Outside. I know right then and there that my steps are being ordered by the Most High. Honor thy mother and father so that your days may be long. Talk about feeling honored. I'm in utter shock. not only because there are people using their experiences like mine to make the world a better place, but that I get to be among them. My life has come full circle, bringing me into alignment with others who are using their stories to advocate for change. Today, Wednesday, June 26th, on the 5-year anniversary of my incarceration, I see how my pain has been turned into my purpose and my power. And the first step on this journey was my ability to forgive others and to forgive myself. Thank you.